Well, Arts and Culture Minister Nathi Mthethwa has caved in to public pressure, directing his department to review a planned 22 million rand flag monument. The 120-meter tall, glow-in-the-dark, we're told, structure was meant to be erected at the Freedom Park Heritage Site in Pretoria. Mthethwa previously defended the project, saying it was meant to encourage democracy, social cohesion, national pride and draw tourists to the area. But there's been lots of outrage at the cost of the project, given where this country is and many people facing such dire economic consequences. Well, let's unpack this further. We're joined by legendary musician Sipho Hotstix Mabuse. Bra Hotstix, good evening to you. Thank you so much for coming into studio.
Good evening, Kat.
Always a pleasure being in conversation with you.
How do you start? Where do you start?
Exactly. I want you to describe for me, in your own words, how you perceive just what we have been witnessing over the last couple of days over this issue of the flag project. I think it's been over a week now, because the reporting really started last week, but we've seen it gain momentum over time.
Yeah, I must say that I became aware of it probably 2 days ago, because I was in Cape Town all the time and I was really busy with rehearsals and so on. So I was not really exposed to actually what transpired in the process. But so far what I had seen, there was obviously an outcry and population reaction. Now, my take on this, I don't think there is as much objection to the flag itself as much as it is about the amount of money that was to be spent to erect the flag. And one of the things that I strongly believe the minister is for me to understand the rationale behind the decision. And I would probably, I am tempted to believe that the AfriForum, for wanting to pursue the old flag as part of what they believe in public, has actually created a knee-jerk reaction from the department to say, okay, we will oppose this by creating or erecting this monumental flag. Having said that, I think it is important for us to also note that there has been a retraction. The department has elected to send it out for review and probably resending the decision to erect the flag.
Bra Hotstix, we've had artists that have been very vocal over the last week again over the department wanting to spend 22 million rand on this project, a department that was unable to come to the rescue of many of them when they were in dire straits under the grips of very strict lockdown under COVID-19, and are still on a journey of recovery and are still battling in many ways to get support, even if it's just for projects that they want to take on.
Yeah, I saw that actually. I saw Eugene yesterday, and I tend to believe that some of the issues that he was raising are more personal, really. There's a family feud there. Remember, there's Minister Nathi Mthethwa, there's the Eugene Mthethwa. There's probably, that conflict of family things. And I know many artists have really felt aggrieved by the fact that so much money was spent when some of the money could have assisted a lot of them who were in dire straits during the COVID. Having said that, I think it's also very important for us to understand that there were those who benefited during COVID. I certainly was one of them. And it would be unfair of me to say I did not. Unfortunately, the amount of money that was placed on the table was minimal for everybody to benefit from what was put on the table by the department. But I think it's also very fair that those who had benefit must come out to say, yes, we benefited from this. There are certain structures that were put in place to deal and address with the COVID issue. Unfortunately, some people put themselves in a space where greed determined how they would advance those things. And it denied many recipients, who would be recipients of the assistance from department. And it is a very difficult situation. I strongly believe that 22 million is far a large sum of money that could easily assist many artists who are in dire straits. KZN, for instance, you know, the floods in KZN are an example which I strongly believe if the department would have wanted to do anything, there are many musicians who have come forward to say, we want to be part of a concert to raise awareness and funds around this. That, for me, would have probably been a project which the department should have engaged with and ensure that some of the money goes into the right projects.
One of the things that has been made clear in this conversation is that you have a sector to a large extent that feels the minister is out of touch with the work that needs to be done in order to build the sector, is not necessarily consultative in terms of understanding how to best support the industry and therefore come up with initiatives that will be best placed to do that. That's part of what has been nuanced in this conversation.
Right.
And I want your take on that. I mean, do you think that we have a minister that understands the needs of the arts and culture sector and the programs of the department are all encompassing of that?
Kathy, I'm not sure if I'm in the right space to make that call. I don't know why, what criteria was used by the government to elect Mr. Nathi Mthethwa to become the Minister of Arts and Culture. So I wouldn't be as informed to be able to make a judgment on whether he's able or not. All I know is that there has been this outcry. There has been all these voices, a groundswell of objectives, what do you call it? Objections from some of the members of the arts sector to say that he's out of touch with everything that is going on with the arts. But I'm certainly not the right person to make that call, because in my interaction with him, I've certainly found him more amiable. And it's only fair to speak about a personal relationship. But as to whether he has the same type of relationship with the rest of the arts sector is for those who've had a different view to come to the party to speak about.
But more broadly for the industry, so if you almost look just beyond the interactions that the two of you have had and look at the vision, the broader vision for the arts sector.
I think the minister himself must be in a position to say how much passion he has for the arts. He's the one that has to tell the country and the world to say, my passion for the arts is such that I'll go and stand in Parliament and ask for so many resources, so much of the money to be spent on developing of the arts. He's the one that can prove to us that he loves us so much that he's willing to put his head on the block so that there's advancement of the arts. But so far, because of all this outcry from the sector itself, it remains to be seen whether he'd be in a position to do that.
Overall, I think, you know, one draws from the conversation again a sense of disillusionment and around, you know, whether there's a clear vision for this country, what the leaders of this country see, where they see us going versus where we are today. And when you look again at the role that the arts can play in fostering unity, in fostering social cohesion, there's so many different things that can be done. But it doesn't look like there's a lot of consultation. You know, the fact that there were people, and I saw the minister in the presidency saying that cabinet actually approved, you know, this 22 million rand flag project. But
I saw that.
again, there is a sense that these are leaders that are out of touch with society and with where the country is. I just want to get your comment from you about that.
I'm tempted to agree with the fact that not only in the arts is there lack of thorough consultation. I think it's all in the mostly spheres of government. We have found people who are not ready to interact or engage society, so that there is guidance from some of the engagement to say, how do we advance the arts? Mm-hmm. You know, when Minister Ngubane was the minister post 94, one of the things that he did, he set up a task team, which we used to call the industry, the MITT, the Music Industry Task Team. That should have been continued. Mm-hmm. But sadly, it just ended up there, because every time there would be a new minister didn't know whether the previous minister had done anything to be able to advance things. And it's something that some of us have always, raised to say, why are we always having to have imbizos in order to advise, or in order to talk about things that we've already discussed with the previous minister, when there should have been processes, to advance whatever the previous minister had done. But unfortunately, we did not do that. Mm. Yeah.
Frau Hotstix, we're going to have to leave it there for tonight. That is legendary musician Sipho Hotstix Mabuse weighing in then on what we've been watching in the headlines, public discourse over the last couple of days.